right. Hi, everyone. Good day. Thank you for joining in. I'm not sure what the time is at your end. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening to everyone who is joining us for another session of Living Letters by Zaza Development Initiative. My name is Zugwai Tugwai, and I am the founder of Zaza Development Initiative, which is a monthly mentorship series that we have for young Africans across the world. We believe in representation. We believe that it's easier for you and me to believe what's possible. For example, the lotteries we hear about and all the free gifts. Someone won a car, someone got a scholarship, someone got a job without connections. It's easier for you to believe when it's someone who is within your neighborhood, in your community, or a friend that you know, than for someone who just comes and tells you stories without you actually knowing the person. So we believe that representation is very key for young Africans, and we try to bring young professionals who are Africans from across the globe, across sectors and across industries to engage with us and with our mentors who are willing to share their experiences and their journeys with us on this series. Today, we have one of such mentors. Her name is Habiba Suleiman, and she will be having our conversation with us today. Thank you so much, Habiba, for joining in. And before we dive right into the conversation, we will be going through Habiba's profile so that we get to understand the person that we're having the conversation with. And we get to also understand the depth of her exposure, the depth of her knowledge, and her experience. Thank you once again for joining in. You can always drop your comments, you can always drop your questions and also feedback in the comment section of the chat. All right, so straight into it, I will be reading Habiba's profile. For some of us who are following our social media pages, I am sure that you have come across this before, but for familiarity, we will read it again. Habiba Suleiman is currently the head strategic partnerships and business development at the Tropical General Investments Group. Her diverse track record spans over a decade across agribusiness, investment banking, impact investment, development research, gender and social inclusion. She has served on several government committees, including the Nigerian Domestic and External Engagement Committees on the African Continental Free Trade Area, as a consultant from the Nigerian Office for Trade Negotiations on Free Trade Concessions Pursuit and Private Sector Representation on the African Regional Forum. Habiba currently sits on the board of the Katsina State Development Management Board, the ECOWAS Rice Observatory, and the Nigerian Agribusiness Group, respectively. She was recently appointed to the Research Advisory Committee of the Nigerian Policy Implementation Analysis Fund, and in 2023, she was awarded by the Donors for Africa as one of the 50 leading African women in development. And in December 2020, Habiba successfully drove the pioneer $10 million West African Trade Hub Partnership in Africa. This project supported over 10,000 smallholder rice farmers with agri-financing, extension support, capacity building, climate change, adaptation, and resilience, financial inclusion and mechanization support, in addition to advancing overall transformation of smallholder livelihoods and inclusion for women and youths. Whew. She has anchored and led discourse on agribusiness, impact investing, climate adaptation, food security, sustainability, and development policy across several international and multi-sectoral platforms, including Nigerian Economic Summit Group, the African Forum on Displacement, and Harvard Business School, ABC. Habiba has a Master of Science in Policy and Development Studies, a Master's in Conflict, Peace and Strategic Studies, and a Bachelor's in International Studies. She's an Oracle certified associate, a graduate member of the Nigerian Institute of Management, and holds an ACCA diploma in accounting and business, amongst other professional certificates. I don't know about you, but this is a load of achievements from Habiba. Please, a virtual round of applause for her. Thank you so much for the amazing work you're doing. Thank you so much. Let me be very biased for being a good representation for women and Nigerian women in the space. You've done a lot and it shows. Thank you so much for showing us that it's possible and that we also can do it. Before we head right into our session, um, I would just like to say that this is a very open conversation. So if you have questions, you can just take them down at the end of the session. We will respond to questions. We will respond to questions from participants. So, our icebreaker, Habiba, for you. If your 20-year-old self could meet you today, what advice do you think she would be most surprised to hear from you?
Well, thank you so much, really, for having me. It's really been a pleasure, really joining you guys. Very happy to be here, I must say. And obviously, when Zigwe called me, I couldn't say no. I had to just figure it out. But I'm so happy to be here to start with. An amazing work that Zaza Development is doing. Obviously, with mentorship, and I think that's one way to start. To say that mentorship is critical because a lot of the times, you really just figure things out on your own. And so for me, I would say that, when we graduated, we all were so excited about what you studied in school, and you had a sort of an idea of what you thought you were gonna do later in life. But life takes you wherever it decides that you want to go, and that's fine as well. So I think it would just be me telling myself to just adapt wherever you find yourself, adapt and learn as much as you can, because whatever you studied in school may not really be what you'd end up practicing later in life, and that's also very fine. It could even be better for you.
Thank you so much for that. Adapt. Don't be uptight. Don't
Yeah.
say it's this way or the highway. Life
Hmm.
happens, things change, and you just might find the best parts if you let yourself adapt. Thank you so much for that, Habiba. So, while we go to our first question for Habiba, please don't forget to type your name in the chat box and where you're joining the conversation from. One thing that stands out about your career path and your journey so far is the fact that you have successfully worked across investment, banking, agribusiness, development, policy, partnerships, and gender inclusion. It's a wide range of space and sectors. Many people today feel pressure to choose one career path very early, which is why I'm excited that you started with ADAPT. How did you build a career that cuts across so many sectors without losing focus? And what mindset should young people adopt when they want to remain adaptable in this world that is ever changing, new things coming up, and so many opportunities everywhere? I hope that
So
was
to be
clear.
honest, right, and obviously I never lost focus. I knew exactly what I was headed to, what I wanted to do. And that's very critical, right? So the first thing I'm going to say is you need to ask yourself what you want to be known for, right? And so do you want to be somebody that people just know that, if there's a problem, this person is going to solve that problem. Whatever it takes, this person is going to make sure that that problem is sorted. If there's something to be communicated, for example, who do we go to when we want to pass a message across? If there's some task to simplify, some very complex thing to get done, who can we rely on to sort of break it down and make it doable? So again, it's about what niche do you want to carve for yourself, and that's very critical, because a lot of the times we run around cycles. You want to be everything at the same time, you want to do this and do that. However, what really allows you to stay focused is when you really understand that wherever I find myself, I want to solve problems, right? And so for me, I think I never stopped. I never lost sight of that. Throughout my career, I exactly knew the kind of person I wanted to be, and that was somebody that was very adept at solving problems. And so, whatever comes your way, whether it's in something you're familiar with or not, you really just want to make sure you're always a student. You always are learning, and that's something I think I should further hone in on. That you should always be teachable. You don't know it all, and wherever you find yourself, later on in leadership, whatever it is, you should always understand that you would not know it all, and that's totally fine. And that's why, when we talk about teamwork and building teams and stuff like that, it's actually critical because that's a huge strength, that if you realize that you can bring in excellent hands in whatever task, in whatever project you're working on, it makes a ton of a difference. There's somebody that's excellent with numbers, there's somebody that's excellent with presentations, whatever it is, but just really find a way to always put the right team together, wherever you find yourself. So I think that's, for me, is critical, that you are able. So, and that's the thing, like, if you understand that generally there's a common way people behave, there's a common way, projects work, there's a common way money works, for example, it also means that you are able to adapt in wherever you find yourself. And so that's the basic thing, that learn to interact, learn to work with people. Again, wherever you find yourself, you would have to work with people. I don't know if we've gotten to that stage where you can only just be working with AI, but you sort of would have to interact. It's the same, it cuts across everywhere with other human beings. And so if you understand that, look, wherever I find myself, and I'm not a dead weight, I'm able to pull my weight, I'm able to get the job done, I'm able to solve problems, people would eventually start to rely on you and take you seriously. And so for me, I think that was critical, that I knew exactly that, look, if you understand that, and that's the thing, whatever sector you find yourself, the same thing sort of applies, that if you are good at what you do, if you make sure you're always putting your best foot forward, you're always trying to make sure that you solve problems that are on your plate, you can adapt to whatever it is. And so it's the same thing when you switch sectors, you just sort of would apply the same rule, maybe different contexts, but at the end of the day, really, it's about what are you doing to make sure that you're always valuable on whatever team you find yourself, whatever industry and sector you find yourself.
Thank you so much. How valuable are you wherever you
Yeah.
find yourself? What do you have to offer? What problems are you able to solve? Um, so it's not about always what can I get, but what
Yeah.
value do you exchange with in every space you find yourself. Thank you so much for that, Habiba. I know that in conversations with a lot of young people, one thing I tell people is it's not pride, but I've over time come to see a lot of young people, especially when they're either looking for job opportunities or scholarships or just any form of fellowships, they tend to come from a point of seeking a favor or downplaying their exposure or experiences. And for me, it's, do you even understand that the only reason they are putting out call for applications is because they know there are people out there who have something
Absolutely.
they want.
Absolutely.
If you didn't have what they want, they won't be asking, they won't be putting out an application, except you really do not have value to exchange. So, yes, be a problem solver, build expertise, be dependable. Thank you again, Habiba. This was really insightful. Okay, still following up on our first question, I would just want to ask, um, how do you know when it's time to pivot and when it's time to just stay on the course? Are there times when we do it too early? Are there times when we stay too long in a particular place? And what kind of transferable skills do we need to get in order to move forward?
That's a very good question, I must say, because I always tell people that, look, if you're not happy wherever you work, please start planning to exit. It should, again, work should not be something that drains you. It shouldn't be something where you're not happy, where you're depressed. And this happens a lot of the times that you find people in places where they work and they go in, they're really downcast, they're sad, and they're just really upset. They can't wait to go home. That should not be work. Work should be something you're looking forward to, you're passionate about. And so if you're in an environment, and again, it doesn't even matter if it's a sector you love or whatever, if you're in an environment where you do not think that you're growing, you're learning, and you're thriving, you're sort of becoming the best version of yourself, plan to leave. There are tons of opportunities out there. However, like you said, you need to build the skills to be able to do that, right? So it's not enough for you to just say, oh, I don't like this place and I'm going. But what else? You need to pay your bills, right? You need to sort yourself out. So it's a question of, again, how, like, again, back to the initial point, that how valuable are you, that you can again tell people, look, I want to leave, and they're like, oh, well, we don't want you to leave. If you're a slacker, nobody cares whether you come in or out. But if you're good enough, you can actually sort of be in the driver's seat of your career, which is very critical. That we need to tell people that you can actually get to that point where you get to decide that, look, I want to move to another industry, I want to move to another company, I want to move to another space, and you can move because you have earned it, you've built the skills to be able to move, to be able to take those independent decisions, whether or not someone else is happy about it, and that's critical. And so for me, I have this very funny story where I was doing my master's and sort of had finished my coursework. I sort of had time on my hands. I was just working on my dissertation. And so I was, open to working, even though I didn't have to. But that year I was just like, I can actually get busy and stuff like that. And so I was working in this place where I just felt everybody was not, I don't know, man, but I just felt that I wasn't growing. There was really nothing new happening. And I said, look, I'm going to leave this place in 1 year. And I did. And so, again, you need to build those skills. You can only do those things where you've built so much competence, you've learned so much. Again, learn. Again, I cannot overemphasize that wherever you find yourself, you need to always be teachable. You need to learn. And even the bad environments, the toxic environments, the unhappy work environments, they teach you lessons. Like I said, wherever you find yourself and you identify that, look, it's about understanding the people here, understanding how the system works, they're sort of applicable in most cases. So if you learn how to, work in certain environments, you sort of will be able to adapt wherever you find yourself, right? And so for me, it's about how do you make sure that you get to the point where you can take those independent decisions. I'm going to keep saying this again and again and again, that you need to be good at your job. It's not enough for you to just say, oh, I have a BSc, I have an MSc, I have a PhD. Are you really good at your job? Can you get things done? Can you be relied upon to get things done? And so until you get to that point where you can actually say, if you give me any task, I mean, I'm going to get it done within the deadline or within the timeline set. I'm going to make sure I hit all the KPIs and all those sorts of things. Until you get to that point where you can command with so much authority, you would not be able to make these career changes and moves when you need to do them. So again, it's about building leverage so that if you need to exit, whether again for good or bad reasons, whatever it is, sometimes it's to actually get promoted. You want a better opportunity, fantastic. But you need to hone in down, go back and learn, understand the job, be very excellent at it, and then it makes it easy for you to pivot whenever you want to, which is important, right? Again, work is not supposed to be slavery. It's supposed to be something you enjoy doing. A career is not supposed to be something that you're depressed about. It should be something you really enjoy doing. And so if you're in an environment where you think you need to move, please make sure that you're learning so much so that whenever you decide to take that step, there's nothing holding you back.
Let nothing hold you back when you build leverage.
Yeah.
You cannot move without leverage. There
Mm-hmm.
always has to be leverage. The only reason that you're able to see those people in those positions speak with so much confidence and
Yeah.
even demand with audacity is because they know what they can deliver. If you do not have
Absolutely.
capacity, you're only exposing yourself for mockery and shame. And one mistake, one thing that we do not understand as young people is when we are too quick without building capacity, you get to close other doors that would have opened because no one would want to give you that chance again anytime soon.
Absolutely.
So, yes, thank you so much again for being this vulnerable, this honest. We might not like it, but we take it. Thank you so much for that. All right. Still going to a second question. You've worked on very high level government committees. You worked with international trade initiatives and also strategic partnerships that have over time influenced policy and development outcomes, which for me is very key because beyond the activities and projects that we do, policies are key. They bring about sustainability for us. Many young people get to ask every time, how do I get opportunities like this when I'm just starting? How am I able to move to that point of making the very big shifts? Not the shifts that they'll tell you, just keep doing the projects one day. How do we get there? So the question for us now is, what do you believe opened those doors for you? Is it technical competence, relationships? Is it consistency, visibility, or something else? What exactly opened those doors for you?
I don't know. Did you lose me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Meeting names. Thank you. Hello?
Can you hear us now? Abiba, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Okay, so I think we're just having a bit of network challenge, but I'm very sure that Habiba will be back soon. Okay, so just before it gets back, can you hear us now, Habiba?
Yes, yes, I can. Can
Awesome.
you hear me?
Awesome.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, I was just saying that all of those things you mentioned, actually worked, were sort of critical to get into that space where you actually would start to make impactful changes in whatever it is you're contributing to. And so, but obviously, the first thing again is that you need to be competent enough, and that competence is what opens the doors, right? That people would say, look, this person needs to be in this room because they're good at whatever it is they're doing, and they know that you're reliable, they know that you're somebody that would deliver, and then you get invited into conversations. And so for a very long time, in a lot of rooms where I've sat, I was always the youngest person in the room. And this was not by coincidence, it was because I'd got to the point where I was so confident in whatever it is I was contributing. Again, thankfully, and so when you speak to relationships and mentors and all those sorts of things, we got to a point where I am so thankful that at the beginning of my career I was able to work with some very teaching, yeah, what's the word I want to use? People that were really invested in teaching you, that were really invested. I say it all the time. My first boss right after NYSC would legit carry a whiteboard and markers and teach you, and it was so exciting. We're all young in the office and all of that. And so that investment for us, or in us, was critical because you sort of built confidence that your voice was heard, and people were always asking you, what do you think about this, what do you think about that? And I was not afraid to say what I thought. At times, some very idea that I thought did not make sense. I'm like, oh, I don't think this makes any sense. Even if everybody was saying, oh, it's fine, And so that confidence got you to a point where you're able to say things as they are without fear, or any of those sorts of things. And so you get to the point where, because of how good you've built sort of that competence, people know that you have the right skill set, and you're not contributing from a place of ignorance. They know that you know what exactly you're talking about, which is why, again, go back and make sure you build your skills, make sure you're good at what it is you're doing. And then people, the right people will start to notice you. Again, I'm going to pause here and talk about principle, because we do not want to be noticed for the wrong things, right? Very important that please do not just be an attention seeker for the sake of the attention. We have a lot of people that would sort of just want to be, known and visible. And obviously now with social media and everything, everybody wants to be popular. You can be popular for the very wrong things, but you can also be very popular for the right things, right? And at times you are not even seeking it. You just are doing your job, and people are noticing that you're doing good at whatever it is you're doing. So if you go back and you build those skills, the right people will start to network with you one way or the other, to be honest. Because again, what is attracting people to you? What exactly are you doing that is attracting people to the space where you're playing at? And so if you start to do that, you see that will happen, and then that network will start to get to the right relationships. And you see the right relationships are those door openers, further door openers, because people start to say, oh, I know this person here that's good at this thing. I know that person here that's good at that thing. And so career opportunities will start to come your way without even seeking, without even you actively seeking. And again, whether this is contributory, like again, a lot of the times where you're invited to come and, sort of um, contribute on a government panel, on a government committee, on a policy, advocacy, whatever it is, platform, it's because they've seen that you're good at what it is you're doing, right? And so all of these things, I must say, are critical, and you rightly picked them because they all have a role to play. That when you get to a point where you're visible enough, like you said earlier, let it be that you've done the groundwork, you've done your homework, so that it is again sustained. Because if you're not good at what you're doing and you're just propped up, eventually it crashes, because you would get to a point where that competence will be called to question, right? And so people would start to ask what it is, what's exactly, what are you about? What's the big deal about this person at some point? And again, because you're female, there's going to be so much more scrutiny, right? And we have this thing where we tell people that, look, a lot of the times you bring 100%, and we wait. Again, I must say this, that as women, you sort of are conditioned to be very timid at some point, where you're like, oh, I need to get to X level before I start to talk about those things. Men are not necessarily, I mean, at 60%, very much confident to go ahead and say whatever it is they want to say, right? And so, really, for me, is that as you're starting to build that, please keep doing the work. Always be teachable, always learn, always be a student. You never know your all. And so, you get to the point where it starts to speak for itself. You don't need to say so much. People just really understand that this person is good at what they're doing, and the doors will keep opening.
Thank you so much for that emphasis. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Whatever principles you're building, let there be principles and skills that actually build the right relationships. Whatever
Absolutely.
attitude, whatever you're bringing to the table, let it be things that people can always remember when the right doors and the right opportunities actually come. Be that person who, when things open up, you're the first person that comes to the mind of people. It helps because if we know you, if all this is not to downplay social media posts on maybe social activities or our frivolities, but then I tell people that if you go through my social media platforms, including Instagram or Facebook, I ensure that my work is being noticed there too, not just LinkedIn or emails. Why? Because you never know where or what channel that opportunity is coming. Let people know you across every space so that because you don't know where that opportunity comes from, let it be that they know you so much that when something comes like, finally, let me just, this person, it has been in my face. Even if it means they're doing it to just push you away, but then you still came to their mind. It's very important. Thank you so much for that, Habiba. Just a follow-up question in that line. You have talked about the very right things that we need to do, and you have gone an extra mile to speak to the women or female folks on building the confidence to not wait until you think it's perfect or you're perfect.
Mhm.
However, what are the common mistakes that delay the growth of promising young professionals? You've worked in the spaces, I'm sure you've had the opportunity of working with young people. What are some common mistakes that young people do that actually delay their professional growth?
Well, I mean, from experience, right? I would say that you know how you see people that have got a lot of potential, but then they sort of are shooting themselves in the foot, right? And that's the thing that we have this thing where in the corporate space, people sort of push for competition a lot of the times, and then you're told that, oh, you need to always compete, and you need to I've said this several times on several platforms where I've spoken, that you need to start to collaborate more than you compete, right? There's so much value you can get from people working with you, people working around you. And so, if all your energy just goes towards competing because you want to come first, because you want to be the one that everybody acknowledges, at times you're doing yourself a disservice, because there's so much learning that comes from just being humble and learning, right? And so again, be teachable. You do not know it all. You're young. There's so much time to learn. As much as as much as many years I've spent in whatever career spaces I've been in, I'm always conscious of the fact that I do not know it all. You can't know it all. There's always somebody that brings in so much competence you can tap into. But the moment you stop being teachable, the moment you're not willing to learn, people stop teaching you. People stop giving you feedback. And that brings me to my second point, feedback. That you need to be somebody that takes feedback with gratitude, right? So if somebody tells you, oh, I think you need to do better this way, or I think you should have done that way, or I think, again, obviously, you need to also be able to sift between what is constructive and what is just unnecessary critique, or, coming from a place that is not, trying to help you. You need to be able to also do that. However, when people critique constructively, please take it and appreciate it, because that's the only way you get better. That people are able to give you constructive feedback and tell you the truth that you need to hear. Otherwise, you wouldn't know, right? And so, a lot of the times, young people, very energetic, have all the potential, but then you start to, how we say it in Nigeria, we say you start to do yourself because you are not willing to learn, you're not willing to be humble, you're not willing to take in feedback, and then you're overly driven by competition, unnecessary competition at times. So yeah, whatever it is, wherever you find yourself, as much as you can, be very open to collaboration, be very open to cross fertilization of ideas, taking what other people have to say, and you'll be shocked the amount of learning you can actually garner within very short periods of time. And so, if you look at certain careers, I remember there's one of my bosses I used to ask a lot of the times, like, how did you move so fast on the career ladder? This guy was, he was topping industry at a very young age, and I'm wondering, like, you would find him in the middle of old guys, and you're wondering, how did you make it? How did you find yourself there? But that was the thing, that when you stop overly, you know sort of concentrated on just competing and competing and competing, you'd be shocked how much collaboration can do for you. So please be very open to working with people, to collaborating with people, to having a good attitude, actually, which is really what underpins everything. That if you have an excellent attitude, people would want to be around you and want to work with you. And so, if again, work on yourself, work on your character, and you know how we say it, that education is not just academics, it's also character, and that's something you should also actively work on building, so that wherever you find yourself, you're easily able to adapt and you're not undermining yourself without even knowing that you're doing it.
So I hear that we can undermine ourselves even without even knowing we're doing it.
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
when our character misaligns with the quality of our work. Sometimes it's not about the quality of your work. You're
Mhm.
asking, why am I not getting that promotion? Why am I not getting that opportunity? My colleague is not that good. But well, your boss is saying, or the manager is saying that this person out there will be a better representation because of the attitude and the
Absolutely.
character. or even because of the good relationship with people within. And it speaks volumes beyond excellence of work or quality of work. Attitude and character is top notch. So thank you so much for that, Habiba. And I would like to also just say personally that the reminder is very timely when you talk about taking feedback with gratitude, because as much as um, it's a good thing. I know sometimes when you feel like you've done all the good work and then somebody is coming to give that feedback, you're like, no, I know what I
Yeah.
did. But
Yeah.
really, sometimes just take a step back and filter through and be honest with yourself. When it's your work, it can be tricky, but yeah, thank you so much for that. Um, all right. How we doing, everybody online? I hope that we're following the conversation and we're taking notes. It's very important that we don't just take this as one of those many talks. You don't get this every day. I know that it's here, but then it's very important that we take advantage of opportunities like this that come our way, and we make the best use of it. If you do not feel that this is for you, think about someone within your space or your network who really needs this, who is going through some sort of challenge at this point, that this will be beneficial to, and share with the person. So, beyond yourself, like Habiba has said, think of others. Collaboration also means thinking about others when opportunities come your way so that they get to benefit. All right. So, to our next question, Habiba, um, your work so far has contributed to the development and also the livelihood of so many. Um, it's one thing that inspired me when I was just going through your profile, how you have improved livelihoods for thousands of people through partnerships and initiatives that you have leveraged on or you have worked on. Today, in our current times, we tend to measure our impact through our successes, through promotions or income or social media visibility and likes. Um, how do you personally define success? And what advice would you give young people who want their careers to be meaningful, to impact meaningfully, while also achieving financial growth and professional growth? Because I remember you're also talking about we have bills to pay. So, how do we balance that out?
Yeah. And this, and that's the thing. The two can actually, what's it called? They can go together, right? You can actually be, I mean, doing really well financially, and you can also really be making good impact and making meaningful changes in whatever environment you find yourself. And again, it doesn't have to be that you're changing the world as such. It could just be that whoever is working next to you, you're empowering people around you, you're improving how they see things, you're teaching people, you're drawing people closer to you, you're understanding, you're reliable. So all of those things for me, when I look at the work that I do every day, are what makes a difference. When you look at um, how much positivity are you bringing to the ecosystem where you find yourself, you know um how much more difference are you making? And so for me personally, I'm really grateful, and I say it all the time, that I'm able to do a job where we are able to really make a difference in the lives of people where we work. And obviously, as you know, Tigwai, this was not the background, this was not my academic background at all, but we pivoted, right? At some point, you start to just say, oh look, but I can actually bring impact investments into this thing, I can bring in financial inclusion, and I can be a problem solver. So if you go to spaces where, I mean, and one example I'll give is, for example, when we start certain projects, we really just start with like a very clear idea of what we want to do. We want to do this and that and that. But then when you get to the field, you start to see that, oh, there's so much more things we can get done with this platform, right? And so for me, it's about how do you leverage whatever place where you find yourself to do more than what you just can get done. So whatever platform you have, whether it's just in your office cubicle, can you be the person that is able to step in when others are having a downtime, or they're not having a good day, or they're dealing with something personal? Are you able to be that person that is understanding? Are you able to be that colleague that can, move beyond just, I just came here, I'm just going to do my job and go home? Somebody that says, oh, somebody over there is not feeling too well, what can we do to help? These are the tiny things, I think, that makes work meaningful for me. Some of us, we found really good friends in workspaces, because you are there almost all the time. Work is really where you spend the most hours of your life, for a certain period of time anyways, if you think about it. And so if that space allows for you to be positive and positively impact the environment where you find yourself, it makes your work meaningful. It doesn't have to be a grand thing. It doesn't have to be something where people are saying, oh, 5 billion people have. No, no, no. It's really about, can I make a difference in whatever way I go today? At times, it's really, how do you even talk to the cleaners in your office? How do you talk to, the security people in wherever it is that you find yourself? And so in our engagements with communities, we tell staff on the field that, look, you need to go down to the level of these communities. A lot of the rural areas where we work, we really are very deliberate about telling people that when you go there, please, as much as you can, be very much adaptable, very much down to earth. Do not come with this Lord, whatever mentality that you think you know it, or you do not know better than these people. They've done these things for years. You probably want to change something in how they do things, but it doesn't mean that you know better than them. They know it's their own way, you know it's your own way. Your way may be proven to be better. There's a way to introduce it respectfully, right? And so for me, it's about, how are you always making sure that wherever you find yourself, whatever work you're doing, is positively impacting that environment, that ecosystem where you find yourself. It can be in any number of ways, but again, it's up to you to figure out how best this can work for yourself, for everybody in your ecosystem. It really is about, how do you make people's lives better? And that's it for me. That I hope that whatever career paths we're choosing, whatever we're doing in life, it's something that is towards the betterment of humanity, whether in the development space or outside of that space, whatever it is. But even if it means you're teaching somebody, that there's somebody working beneath you that is able to learn, that you're actively coaching, that you're actively teaching, does it mean that, the people that are your personal staff, you sort of are helping them to see better what opportunities? Does it mean that you're the person that's recommending people for promotion wherever it is that you work? Does it mean that you're the person that's helping your colleague? Like I mentioned earlier about collaboration, at times it's about just stepping in to tell somebody, oh, this thing you're working in, how do you think I can help you? It doesn't have to be, we don't have to be selfish all the time. I know how we get to this point where they're like, oh, look after yourself, put yourself first. Yeah, I mean, those things are not necessarily bad, but please, if work can also allow for you to change lives impactfully, lots of people are getting depressed now. Obviously, mental health and all those things are becoming top burner issues today, because of the kind of ecosystems and toxic environments we're having to put up with. If you're able to make life a little bit easier for people in your work environment, please do it. It would not may not cost you anything, but it would do a lot for people you're working with. So for me, I think that's what, having a meaningful career means, that in whatever it is you're doing. And I'm not saying do not work hard, do not make money. Please, by all means, make good money, because again, it gives you the comfort to get to do these things all the time, or even skill. But it's really about, how are you deliberate about making sure that your work is positively impacting people's lives? Whether animals, whether plants, whatever it is, whether the environment, but there should be something positive that is coming out of your work. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Um, oh, this is a callback to humanity, I think, because I think somewhere along the line we were wrongly maybe informed, or
Yeah.
I don't know where we picked up the bad character, that just because
Yeah.
you're being professional, you
Yeah.
lose your humanity and you begin to treat others like they're not humans, or they're not there just because you have an office, and your office is not 24 hours. Let's not forget. Some of us, it's just that period of service that we need to offer, and we forget that other people also have to place themselves in superiority. Thank you for reminding us to not forget the human part of us when working with others, and also knowing that success is beyond just money. It could be money, but it is also in the relationships we're able to nurture and how we treat people in the course of work. Thank you so much for that. Oh, okay. That was a lot. Um, ah, how do you avoid burnout? Because this is a lot of work that you do. How do you avoid burnout while carrying this significant leadership responsibilities? And what legacy do you hope that your work leaves behind?
So yeah, burnout is crazy. I cannot even deny. I'm not gonna deny it. I'm a workaholic. Workaholic. I travel a lot. Obviously, my work demands that I travel quite a lot. And at times, I was telling someone just yesterday that sometime in February or so, there was a day where I flew in and out, in and out, in and out because I had a meeting. I had to come back. I had to, and you forget that your body, that you're also human, right? That your body can break down, and so we need to take a step back and realize that you don't have to be in the hospital to realize that you should take care of yourself. So now I'm very deliberate. I try to pace myself. I have this thing where I don't know if it's a good or a bad thing, where if I have a task on my table, it has to be done. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to rest. And so that does not allow me to rest as I should. I've started to tell myself, tomorrow you can get it done. There's tomorrow. You can do this tomorrow. This can be done today. This can be done tomorrow. Uh, but yeah, it's really about being deliberate at times. That you need to. I've been sick because of burnout. And I hope that that is enough to tell me that you need to slow down at times. You're human. You're just human. At times you need to rest. Listen to your body. Take the rest. If you need to break down, if you need to cry, whatever it is you need to do, to be honest, do it. I also try to do some fun things. I do movies. And so when I need to, I try as much as I can to just do some movie, uh, just watch something interesting and just take your mind off of work. At times it helps. So whatever fun thing, my mom is always saying, get something you do that makes you excited, that you do for yourself. Whether it's cooking, whatever it is really, but do that thing so often where you really can be able to help yourself feel better. And so for me, it was critical that, I found whatever it is that works for me, certain things you enjoy to do, make it a habit to do it as often as you can. As much as you can, again, try to incorporate some of these things in the work that you do so that even as you're working, you're not I'm not saying go and watch movies at work. No, not at all. But what I'm saying is, if there's a way for you to slow down while you're working, your 1 hour lunch breaks, if you want to, if you can eat something nice, whatever it is, you really do it and just slow down and pace it down a bit, because it can be a lot at times, especially when you have, it's crunch time, there's so much to do, you have so much tight deadlines and stuff like that. So for me, it's about pacing yourself, taking it easy at times. And obviously, there will be times where you need to push, and those times, please do push. And when you're done, take a break and rest and do whatever it is you need to do. Sleep well as much as you can. A lot of the times we come home, you spend 9 or so hours at work, and then you come home and you're sleeping at 1 a.m. and you're waking up at 4. Those things mess you up. So if you're young, please do prioritize your health. Drink a lot of water, stay hydrated, and all those, and move obviously as much as you can. Try to be active. They really do help. So yeah, I would just say that those are those things that I try to do now deliberately, very, very deliberately, so that I can also make sure I'm healthy and I'm not burning out. In terms of my legacy, that's a very hard question. I do not think that far as such. You just take it one day at a time. However, I've worked with some really amazing young people, in projects in my office, wherever it is I find myself. And I learn a lot from them, And for me, it's about how people say, oh, you really are teaching them something they did not know. You, they're seeing things differently, they view work differently. because you're maybe more empathetic, right? And these were things that were also done to you, or certain things that you expected to be done to you. And now when you're in a place where you can provide that to other people, you try as much as you can to do that. And so for me, it's about, I hope that a lot of these things I'm able to leverage whatever platform I have, where I'm able to provide that cushion for other younger people. I hope that they're able to take you forward, right? That you're able to tomorrow also do that to someone else and say, this is because I worked with Habiba at some point and this was how she got things done. This was how we were treated when we worked with Habiba. I really do hope that that's something that people can bring more. Because when I tell people, certain experiences I have or I have had, they're like, really? Someone did that for you? I'm like, yeah. And I do not know why. Again, I'm just thankful. But for me, I think, there's so much negativity. There's also so much positive things that can happen in the workspace. And so it is a responsibility for you that if you have experienced whatever positivity, please do carry it forward. Make sure you make it a little bit easier for other people. At times, when your boss just walks in and says, oh, what's wrong with you? Are you okay? Do you want to go home for a bit? And you're like, really? And I worked with someone that, he's always saying, please, can you please? And then when you're coming from a place where they're like just backing down commands, and you're like, please, it's my job. You don't have to say, please, I'm going to do it. Or someone is saying, oh, thank you so much for work that you should have done. And you're like, really? They say thank you around here. And so, again, when you see those positive things, please pick them up and make sure you're stepping it down. And if you experience negative things that you thought, I shouldn't have been treated that way, please do not go ahead and treat other people that way, right? And so for me, it's about whatever experiences you are garnering, positive or negative, you do have the opportunity to flip it or keep it and carry it forward. And so I really do hope that careers of other people, next generation, next next set of years or decades or whatever it is, would have people that have experienced some sort of positivity or goodness in the workspace because somebody said they experienced it earlier from myself. I really do hope that that's something that keeps carrying on, and we're able to, at one step at a time, make it a little bit better. Because like you said, there's so much we've ingested without even knowing it. You know how when you start your career and everybody's saying, oh, you need to this and that, you need to make sure in that workplace nobody is your friend, and just those things, and we take it in, but then you start to unlearn. And so I hope that I'm able to bring that on, that these new experiences are able to shape in for other people, and they're also able to impact positively on other people they get to work with.
Oh, that was so great. Thank you so much once again, Habiba. Um, ah, thank you, thank you, thank you. I know you said you haven't thought about the legacy question, but I think a lot of times when we ask this question, people are thinking of all those very big, complicated English grammar conversations when we say legacy. But
Yeah.
really, there's nothing so for me, there's nothing as important as having people who can pass it on.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you, no matter how much you're able to do, if it dies with you or it ends with you, then really, what's the point?
Yeah.
But when you have people who can speak about you, speak about the work you've done, even the work that you or how you've treated them, how you responded to them in certain situations, how you showed up for them. You made an example with the boss you had who would literally teach you with a board. I'm sure to that person, it was just something he does naturally. But for you, it went a long way.
Yeah.
And you're willing to do that for other young people. I'm sure there's someone who has carried that on again. And for me, that's very key. If someone is not able to pick out from something that I'm doing or a way that I'm behaving or living to live out, then nah, I'm not sure I'm doing it right. So
Yeah.
for me, it's not just about the tick on the boxes for work, but the kind of character that I tend to pass on to people also. And very important when you mention, because I could totally relate. Sometimes, well, in this our journey, professional journey, you've met the good, the bad, the ugly, and I know I've had questions like, "Oh, why did you stay here? Why did you do this? Why did you? How were you able to?" And I'm like, For me, when I get into a space, especially a professional space, I go in with a goal. So that helps me to stay focused, even when things are not, in quotes, going as they should in terms of people's character. And I believe that until I achieve that goal, it could be to ensure that other people within that space understand that that's not the way things should be,
Yeah.
or they could be better, or even they move before I move, just ensuring that they get better. I will not leave that place. So that's the kind of person I am. And I think we need to start thinking in that line where legacy is as important as our chase for achievements and impacts in that we do. Thank you so much. This has been, oof. I know I do this for people, but I get to learn every single time. And just aside, people, I know this young woman. I think that's something I can boast about. Like, I know this young woman. Did you hear the profile? Yeah, I swear I know. And I'm super proud of you. I'm super proud of
Thank you.
the woman you've become and you're still becoming. I met Habiba 11 years ago or more.
I might be way more than 11 years
Yeah,
ago.
actually, yes.
Well, maybe
11 years
like 18 years.
2009. Yes. Oh,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
goodness.
yeah.
Oh,
It's been a
long time.
journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful to see people just emerge. And for me, I tell people that while people say mentors are older people, and I look at my peers and I see them do amazing work, and I am always, always excited to learn how are they doing it. In
Yeah.
this person, that's and when everyone says don't compete, look, that's my mantra. I'm not sure why I'm competing with you when I can learn from you.
Exactly.
Competition is
Exactly.
a problem. I don't have the energy.
Mm-hmm.
So really, it's beautiful when you can confidently say, these are my people and we're all thriving and we
Mm-hmm.
can build each other up and push each other when we need to. So thank you again, Habiba, for just staying the course and being the amazing person you are. By the way, when I put up a reminder, I think a day before yesterday, someone came to my DM, someone I know, and said, "Oh, I know her. Do you know her?" And I said, "Yes, her name is Zeliha." Zeliha
Oh,
said,
yeah, yeah, I know Zaliha. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh,
"Yes, so you
oh,
said very
wow.
good things," and she spoke so
Yeah.
highly of you, so
Oh,
highly of
wow.
And
Wow.
I went through the comments on LinkedIn and I could see a lot of people saying they look forward to this, they look forward to this. And you're doing so much. If
Thank
nobody,
you.
if you're not hearing it enough, please, you're doing so much. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
As we wrap up, we do have a culture where we do what we call rapid fire questions. There are 5 questions that we ask our mentors, and we call them rapid fire because we want you to say the first thing that comes to you. No thoughts. So, are you ready?
Yeah, I guess I am.
Yay. Okay. Coffee or tea?
Tea, for sure.
Oh,
For
okay.
sure. Coffee causes me headache. That thing, I don't know how people drink that thing, man. It's headache causing. Yeah.
I'm a coffee
Yeah.
person.
Interesting.
Okay. So, morning or morning bird or night owl?
I think morning. I think
Hmm.
morning. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So,
Mm.
what's the one book every young African should read? It doesn't have to be
Ha!
professional.
The trial of Didan Kimathi. The trial of Didan Kimathi.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like really old though. In case people
Yes.
don't know it.
Yes. Everybody, I mean, go and read that book. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
What's one daily habit that changed your life?
Hmm. One daily habits. Do I have a daily habit? So I'm a soccer for routine. I'm trying to think, man. Oh, what do I do every day? Maybe tea. Maybe I drink tea every day. To be honest, I love tea so much. I love tea. Maybe that's one thing I can say that I do every day. That yeah,
Hey,
it's changing my life. I feel a lot better when I drink tea. Yeah.
awesome. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
What's one leadership lesson you had to learn the hard way?
Oh, patience. I had to learn to be patient. Yeah. To be honest, right? When I don't like to say I'm a perfectionist,
Mm,
but when you're always very, how do I say this? You know how you have this thing when you're fixated on a goal and you're like, it
mm,
has to be exactly this way and it has to be that way. And if it's not that way, you're losing your mind. At some point, you have to learn that it can come in different ways and it's fine. So I've really learned to be patient because things go south at times and it's fine. So that patience really is good. It's good for your health, it's good for your gut. You end up with ulcers if you're not able to take a step back at times. So I really think that I've had to learn patience, that things may not always go the way you expect them to go, but there's always a way around it, and that's something to be happy about as well.
okay.
Yeah.
Patience. Okay. What a quote or a scripture that
Mm-hmm.
has kept you grounded?
Uh,
It could be a general quote or a scripture from the Quran, anything that has kept you grounded.
To be honest, right, I think what is something that I don't know how to word this, but I just know that life is transient for sure, right? And I know that we're not always going to be here. And so again, you know, so lately, again, maybe I should, speak to why this is even more grounding for me lately, is that you see so much evil going on in the world, whether this is people that are looting resources, people that are suffering, people that, again, especially for children, I don't know, but I struggle really hard to watch children suffer, whether in war zones and all those sorts of things. I just know that it would eventually come to an end. That's something that sort of helps me cope because it's a bit hard when you look at all the injustices that go on across the world, and when people get away with things seemingly that people that do a lot of evil things get away with it. Also, it seems I sort of bear in mind that it would come to an end. Eventually everybody will leave, and so for me, I think that's in and in of itself, again, when we look at the end as though it's a bad thing, at times it's also a relief that these things eventually will come to an end. So for me, I think it's really just having that perspective that whatever evil is going on eventually will come to an end. There's going to be justice at some point. So it keeps me going. But again, and this is because we do this thing where we view life as though it's some separate event, that when I come on LinkedIn, I just want to be professional. But I do not forget that the other people that are going through hell on earth at the moment also had careers, right? And so for me, it's again about how, please do not lose your humanity, whatever it is you're doing, and just be humane. And also see that you're not immune to all of the things that are happening to other people. I think it's critical that we always remember that you are not immune, and it could just be because you were lucky to be born in a different part of the world. So yeah.
Ah, very important. Sometimes we forget. We think
Hmm.
if it's not happening to me, then it might never happen to me.
Yeah.
Or you think you're here forever. And
Hmm.
yeah, yep, we need to take a step back every once and forward. Okay.
Hmm.
So, final question, or better still, a final conversation with our participants today. If every young person joining us this evening is to remember just one lesson from this conversation, what would that lesson be for you? What would you want them to take out of this entire conversation?
That you're African. You know why I said go and read the trial of Didan Kimathi. Africa has so much potential to offer the world. You're not less than. you're not you're not catching up. You're excellent. You have so much value to bring to the table. And so a lot of the times, yeah, we come to the table thinking we have to tone it down because you want to, I don't know how to say it, but I'm trying not to say colonial mentality, but we still sort of carry this thing where we go to certain spaces and we're not very confident. Please bring all your energy, bring all your confidence to wherever it is you find yourself. You're just as deserving, you're just as worth it as every other person on the table. It doesn't matter your social background, it doesn't matter your educational background. If you're good at what you're doing, you have a voice to speak, please do not be afraid to speak up. Show up, do the work, but do not let anybody tell you that you're less than. So again, please, and very importantly, so that wherever you find yourself, please do not cower, do not shy away, do not let anybody let you think that you do not deserve to be in a room. Wherever you find yourself, please show up, and really just be there, really just put your best foot forward. There's so much work we can do together. I'm really excited to see all the amazing things that young people from Africa, from Nigeria obviously, are going to get done in the next decade. Thank you. It's been
Thank you,
exciting.
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. I love that reminder. You are African, you're deserving, you're worth it, you're excellent. Do not tone it down. You know those
Yeah.
videos that they say how the African in the room, their voices are very loud. Well, how else
Yeah.
would you know
The
that you
Nigerian, the Nigerians take it a notch further. Wow, wow, all over the place. I have to apologize at times for Nigerians because when we go everywhere, they know us.
they know. In fact,
Yeah,
let me tell you something that happened, I think yesterday. I was
yeah.
at a reception somewhere and then someone came up to me and just went, oh, there, are you Nigerian? So they were asking, what country are you from? I don't know why most times people just assume I'm not Nigerian. So I said Nigerian. They're like, really? Oh, you don't look it. Anyway,
Yeah.
there are other Nigerians down there. There are other Nigerians. I met them. Come. Look. And I'm like, why are you the one going to help me find Nigerians?
No,
It
no,
was
no.
so,
We're a nuisance wherever it is we go. People know.
yeah. Well, this was
Yeah.
really, really interesting and it was an amazing conversation. Thank you so much, Habiba, for joining us. Everyone, thank you for staying through. This would be saved in our on our YouTube channel. It's forever. This is a legacy we're leaving. So that people who were able to join in, but we just want to go through it again because we know that sometimes we tend to miss out when the conversation is going on, or you tend to just miss something and you would want to go back, or you would want to share with someone else, or just have a watch party with friends at some point, or you feel like you're not there yet. But someday, sometime in the future, something happens and you need to come back here. Please feel free to just check out our YouTube channel and watch the session. You can also watch previous sessions that we've had and just reach out if you have any questions or you have any feedback. We're really excited to have you and we hope that you're able to join us next month, last Saturday of every month. Um, we wish you all the best and we hope to see you at the top. Thank you so much again, Habiba.
Thank
While
you.
we let these people go, let me still few minutes with Habiba. Thank you, everybody.